Hello. What an absolutely beautiful morning here on the path. The sun is coming out, the birds are singing, and there is a distinct fall crisp in the air that speaks to how one season melts into the next. And it has me thinking about a particular aspect of personal development, one that tends to frighten us. And that is the whole concept around change. But when you think about it, change really shouldn't be this scary, especially not so scary that it affects our personal development plans and our aspirations and our goals. You see, we tend to be afraid of those things that we are unfamiliar with, but we are very familiar with the concept of change. For example, our bodies are constantly growing, the world around us simply won't stand still, and the universe is always fluxing and expanding. So we are more than familiar with this idea of how things move and flux and change. And yet, it still tends to frighten us. So why is this? Well, it may come down to a simple question of biology and evolution. You see, our ancient ancestors lived in a hostile environment, and they had to be very sensitive of the changes that were occurring around them. So a sound in the woods might mean that a predator was on the loose, or if the wind changed direction, it might mean that a deadly storm was blowing in. So they had to be almost hypersensitive to the changes that were occurring. If they weren't, they didn't survive very long. But those who did were able to pass on those traits and attributes to their children and to their grandchildren. And those generations became more and more adept at identifying change and having the skills to see change. And as time grew and moved on, a particular part of the brain actually started to become more dominant, and that is a part called the amygdala. Now today we know the amygdala is responsible for the fear response, so it's the flight or the freeze response. And back in our ancient ancestors' days, when they were living in those hostile environments, that response was a life-saving skill and gift. But as time moved on and our environments became less hostile, and we started to do things like personal development plans and thinking about our futures and our goals, the amygdala started to get in the way. Because by their very nature, personal development plans are all about change and growth. And the amygdala simply sees that change as a change. When you say, for example, you're moving towards your personal development goal and you're approaching it and you start to feel the fear. Well, that's the amygdala's fear response kicking in. So the amygdala, though very valuable in a life-saving situation, not so much when it comes to our personal development plans, because the amygdala doesn't know the difference between good change and bad change. So what can we do? If this is something that is ingrained in us and it's developed over time and is a part of who we are, well, first and foremost, it's vitally important to know what you want. And by knowing what you want and getting a clear picture of that is going to be able to set up a happy place almost for you. So when you feel that tension and fear moving towards your goal, you identify it as such and then move directly to the thing that you want. And that's going to help drag you over that fear episode. Next, it's vitally important as well, almost more so, to know why you want something. Knowing why you want something is going to be the fuel in the tank. It's going to be that motivation. And the motivation is going to give you the opportunity, to give you the energy to get over the rough spots. Next, it's really important for you to be cognizant of what's going on in your body when you feel that fear response, and to basically tell yourself it is a biological function. It does not control me, I control it. I am driving my own bus. So when you feel the fear, step back from it and say, that's just the amygdala doing its thing. Calm down. This is nothing that we have to be afraid of. Get past it. And being cognizant and aware and conscious of what the amygdala is doing may be able to give you that little nudge that allows you to move past the fear and move on to the goal that you're trying to achieve in your personal development plan. And then lastly, you may be actually able to trick the amygdala. And we call it tippy-toeing around the amygdala. So by taking slow, incremental steps towards a particular objective or goal, you trick the amygdala into not identifying what you're doing as a major change. It's simply small steps towards a change. So as you make these small incremental steps, the amygdala doesn't trigger, you don't feel the fear response, and then you can easily, gently move towards your goal without having the fear response kick in. So it's this slow incremental growth, ever expanding your comfort zone and your belief system. By using this method, you will be able to make a slow, steady trip towards your goals instead of trying to jump to the end right off the get-go, and then that may be affecting your ability to control the fear response. So it's all about how you control the amygdala, the fear response, and how you want to navigate this biological function. And once you learn to be conscious and learn to basically drive your own bus when it comes to fear and change won't necessarily be such a dominant factor in you not achieving your personal development plans. I hope this has been helpful. I put up videos every now and again, so please, by all means, drop by, leave me a comment, and until next time, stay on the path.